anything he wants to on a basketball court. He's having just one of those magical runs right now.
All I know is win. That's the sound. Till they call close curtains. All I know is game time, really hang time, silly, cold blood, my veins chilly, my play, y'all call thrilling. I just got that feeling.
Now it's Luka, deep three. Luka Doncic.
Feeling it's time to win.
Luka Doncic looking like a human highlight reel, giving the former Warriors team a taste of their own medicine. The 20-year-old was unstoppable. 35 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists in 25 minutes. That's the fewest minutes played in a 30-point triple-double in NBA history. Max Kellerman.
Yeah.
Many are comparing him to a young LeBron James. Is it fair to compare Doncic to the king?
Absolutely, it's fair to compare. Just like it was fair to compare Kobe Bryant to Michael Jordan. He didn't get to Michael Jordan's level quite. Wasn't exactly as athletic as Jordan, though it was very close. His hands weren't as big, little things like that. But basically, it was a carbon copy. And the reason it was fair is because at a certain age, you looked at Kobe and went, whoa, if he's doing that at this age, what's he going to be doing at that age? Everyone marveled at LeBron coming straight from high school and doing what he did by, like, age 20. Oh, my God, look at those numbers. Doncic is putting up better raw numbers because in this era, even compared to then, so I'm going back almost 20 years, or 15 years, there are more possessions and all that kind of stuff, and people take more threes, and so Doncic benefits from that. He's basically putting up LeBron James numbers at age 20 and having a LeBron James kind of impact on the game, importantly. LeBron also didn't play defense at that age. I mean, Doncic doesn't play defense. But that means if you say, well, you know, like he's not as athletic as LeBron, fine, but there's room to grow. In other words, sometimes, like in baseball, a guy gets to the league with what you call old man skills. He already has good strike zone judgment. He's already big and slow but powerful. So he has nothing to evolve into, right? The spry, athletic middle infielder can evolve into that guy. He'll probably have a long career. But the guy who shows up with the skills that other guys develop eventually, where's he going to go? You might look at Doncic and say, yeah, but he's not a LeBron James level athlete. Where's the room for growth? Playoff experience, defense, like just even playing it, all those things. The scary thing about Doncic is there's real room for improvement, and he's already just about as good as anyone in the game. And, Stephen A., he's already arguably the best 20-year-old who ever lived. He's on a short list. Of course it's okay to compare him to LeBron.
Well, I'm not going to say it's not okay, but I'm going to say I don't do it. You know, I'm not trying to discredit Luka Doncic in any way. I had the pleasure of speaking to Coach Rick Carlisle last night about him, and Rick Carlisle was like, he's just that dude. He's a walking triple-double on any given night. I put the ball in his hands, and I gave it to him. But here's where I part ways from everybody, including Jay Williams, who basically sides with you in this one. Athleticism matters to me. Speed matters to me. And the reason why is because I think that when you measure a guy and you're comparing him to the superstar, the likes of LeBron James, remember, LeBron James was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, the chosen one. The expectations that came with him wasn't just because of his basketball acumen, his basketball IQ, and his abilities, but the athleticism and whether or not the skill set that he had was sustainable for the long haul. So when Max and I part ways is that Max will look at Doncic and goes like this. He can really, really ball. Totally agree. He could shoot, he could pass, he could rebound. The brother's special, which I totally agree. A matter of fact, just to make sure everybody understands where I'm coming from, when I think about Doncic, I think about Larry Bird. And I think about Larry Bird. Forget the game for a second. The brothers. Let me go here. The brothers.
Just give it up.
The brothers going like this.
Just gotta give it up.
Because this is how it rolls. This is how it rolls, okay? When you're a white dude and you playing ball against the brothers are very, very reluctant to give you that credit until you take it. And you get to a point where Dominique Wilkins back in the day was going like this. That's a bad brother right there. Yes, and you don't even call him a bad player. You call him a bad brother because he's so bad, meaning good. You call him a brother. That's what you said about Larry Bird. That's what they could potentially end up saying about Doncic. But where I part ways again with him and LeBron is that you got to show me that it's sustainable because I'm looking at LeBron's athleticism.
playing on a tender ankle. What a performance. This step-back three for the game winner, the shot heard around the world. They win it by 2 in overtime. Luka had 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists. That series is even at 2 games apiece. That's where the drama was, and this is where the conversation begins right now. Richard Jefferson is with us, and we will have Stephen A. Smith with us in just a moment. Stephen A. will join us in just a moment. RJ, you and I opened this hour talking about Luka. Let's talk about what to expect from him now as we go forward. Tim Legler said on this show last week that we are entering the decade of Doncic. Do you believe Luka is on the verge of becoming that player, the signature player in the NBA as some of these older stars sort of get into their final years?
You know, it's funny, we talk about that. Meanwhile, Giannis is still very young, probably on his way to a second MVP. But I think the way Luka does it is different, right? You look up at it, and we were marveling at LeBron James having 25, 15, and 15, and Luka almost did the exact same thing. This man goes out and has, 43, 17, and 13. So he was about to have a 40-point game with the same type of numbers. And Luka is just different. He's special. I don't know how he gets 17 rebounds. I kind of understand how he gets, double-digit assists, but then he also goes out there and scores 40. We haven't seen too many players that have the ability to do this night in, night out. And don't forget, you remember this, Greeny, earlier in the season, he averaged a triple-double over the course of a month. So this isn't him getting hot. This is just who he is, how he plays, and he's only going to continue to get better and smarter.
Stephen A. now does join us, indeed. Stephen A. Smith with First Take starting in 28 minutes. Good morning, Stephen A. Let me just come to you and give you the floor. Any direction you want to go on Luka. Obviously, yesterday was spectacular. The series has been spectacular. As you were watching Luka Doncic right now, what thoughts are going through your mind?
Oh, the brother's, he's big time, no question about it. I've had NBA officials telling me that at this age, he's better than LeBron James was. I think that's a bit hyperbolic. I certainly don't believe that because I believe that LeBron was absolutely phenomenal. But you can make that argument because of Luka's shooting ability. We can't deny that. His poise, the fact that he's not scared of any moment. And then to be going up against, and I don't think we can ignore this, for him to be going up against a Clippers defense that is supposed to be big time with Kawhi Leonard, with Paul George. I know Patrick Beverley did not play, but Morris is no scrub. He can ball and he can defend. When you've got a team like the Clippers who are rough and rugged, they go after it, they play with intensity and whatever. And this dude scores 40 in two of the 4 games. One of the other games he was hurt. Another game he had 28 points in 28 minutes. They can't seem to stop him. And then last but not least, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but Kawhi Leonard is one of the top 5 players on the planet. He is elite. He's a 2-time champion, a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. That first title that he won, that first NBA Finals MVP that he won, Greeny, it was because of his defensive prowess, supposedly against LeBron James, even though LeBron averaged 28 in that series. What the hell was Kawhi Leonard doing switching off of Luka Doncic last night and allowing the smaller Reggie Jackson to defend him? I think that was a mistake on Kawhi Leonard's part. That's something that you have to step up and demand. I'm not switching. I'm going to stay on this dude, especially with Porzingis out. Everybody and their mother knew that Luka Doncic was going to have the ball in his hands, which means Kawhi Leonard knew. Why were you not on this, brother?
No
That's
question.
just the way I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, Doc Rivers was talking about the defense and that switch after the game. We've got Stephen A. Smith and Richard Jefferson with us. I'm just going to ask, because I saw what happened there. We're having a little trouble with Stephen A.'s camera. Can I come back to? Oh, yes, we do. Okay, excellent. Stephen A., very quickly, because I want to make sure we save some time to talk about Kobe today. But I do want to get your take on the Sixers. They get swept out yesterday. Anyone who knows you began your career at the Philadelphia newspapers covering the Sixers, and now we see what might have been the end of the process. If it were up to you, what would be the changes you would make in Philly after they get swept out of the playoffs yesterday?
Brett Brown has to be replaced as head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. I take no pleasure in saying that. He's a good man. He truly is. And I'm certainly not questioning his knowledge of basketball from an X's and O's standpoint. But at some point in time, when you're entering your 8th season as the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, you know what? We got to look at it. You lived off the process. The process was straight garbage as far as I'm concerned, and nobody blamed him for that. But you've had 3 or 4 years with Joel Embiid healthy, with Ben Simmons in the lineup, and this is what happens. And so at the end of the day, I question whether or not he has the pulse of these players, that he's maximizing what he has to work with. And that's where it becomes problematic. Ty Lue, Mark Jackson, and others, there's coaches out there that are believed to be individuals who can touch the pulse of players of that magnitude. You've got to give it a shot without wasting away the years of the Philadelphia 76ers. Butler and Redick are gone, I understand that. And that's a management issue as well. But they should have been better, particularly on the road this year. And their horrible road record, to me, is the ultimate indictment against Brett Brown. I think there needs to be a change, and I think there will be a change, I predict, within the next few years.
Is LeBron James the best player in basketball? He is playing the best basketball right now. That does not make him the best player. He lost his crown to Kawhi when he was hurt, didn't make the playoffs. Remember, James Harden's the best regular season player usually. Then LeBron reminds us in the playoffs, no, it's me. But without him there, at his age, Kawhi stepped in and won it all. LeBron's going to have to take that crown from Kawhi in the playoffs.
Well, here's why I think your position is utterly ridiculous in that regard, because you brought up injury. The fact of the matter is that we didn't look at LeBron and see, oh, he can't play no more. He's no longer that dude. What we saw is a guy that went down with the groin injury, missed 17 straight games, and then a couple of more thereafter before ultimately sitting down for the season, played a grand total of 55 games, the lowest of his career because the Lakers were out of the playoff picture. That's what we saw. We didn't see a guy in his 16th year and go like this, it's over for him. We didn't see that. And so my point is, if we didn't see that from him, just because Kawhi ascended while LeBron was gone, first to injury, and then because his team didn't make the playoffs, doesn't mean that LeBron lost the crown as an individual player. What we wanted to see was, coming into the season, like I said, I had LeBron as the league MVP. I had the Lakers winning it all. I think I'm on course with the MVP thing. Right now, LeBron James is the MVP
so
of the
far.
NBA right now. And what I'm saying is, when you look at him and what he's bringing to the table, 27, 8, and 8. Damn, that sounds pretty familiar. That's pretty much what he's always
Let me put it like this.
Even though the shooting percentage up to 51%. 34% shooting from three-point range.
No, but he's conducting the whole team. When he's on the bench, they fall apart.
But the reason why well, again, you just made my point.
Yeah.
Not just because they fall apart, but also because what have you religiously said is LeBron James' greatest asset?
Passing.
The fact that he runs the show.
Yeah.
You've always said that.
But
that's what he's doing.
Let's put it like this.
That's
Molly.
what he's doing.
And you tell me if you agree with this one, okay? We're usually looking for disagreement, but here I'll see if I get consensus. You're saying LeBron had the crown. You're not going to lose that to injury. Kawhi got a little interim championship in LeBron's absence. I'm saying LeBron had the crown. Injury, when you can't show when it matters most over almost a 2-year period that you're the best and Kawhi's now in his prime, no, Kawhi took that crown. You're saying you don't believe Kawhi's champ till you see him take it from LeBron. I'm saying I don't believe of the NBA. I don't believe LeBron is champ, meaning number one, till I see him beat Kawhi.
Yeah, but
if they play each other in the Western Conference Finals, we get our answer.
I get it, but what I'm saying to you is so ridiculous about your statement right now is that I'm taking your history of how you praise LeBron in collaboration with LeBron's history of going to 8 straight NBA Finals, and you're trying to tell me the 1 year that he gets injured and he's not in the playoffs because of it, because of that 1 year, automatically Kawhi is crowned.
No.
I'm talking about in terms of him as an individual player.
Stay right there.
That's not right.
Stay right there. I'd understand that if Kawhi was okay in the playoffs and his team won. Kawhi had an historical playoff run. From beginning to end, one of the best we've ever seen. It was almost Jordan-esque. He had series early on that were like, oh, my God, each and every game. He single-handedly beat the Sixers in Game 7.
We saw LeBron have comparable numbers when losing in the finals.
Right, but not recently. You're right. And at that point, per game, because when LeBron decides to play defense and blah, 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 and he's a great defensive player. I think LeBron's an all-time great defensive player when he chooses to play defense. He ain't Kawhi Leonard on defense. And then, Stephen A., there's this. Why is it really that guys like you and me, other than over the course of their career, LeBron has more value than Jordan because he's played much longer at a high level. But at their peak, Jordan was better than LeBron. Not only do the numbers say that, but Stephen A. Smith, the real reason is if they're on kind of equalish teams and the money's on the line and it's Game 7, even though Jordan didn't go Game 7, and they played 100 times, you and me don't believe LeBron would get MJ even one time with the money on the line. MJ had
But Kawhi Leonard is no MJ.
And MJ had that thing in him. I'm not claiming Kawhi is MJ. Doc Rivers is going overboard because that's his guy. But Kawhi doesn't care. Like, you've made the point before, LeBron doesn't like it on the free throw line at the end of games. LeBron's considering things like, it's a lot to live up to.
Kawhi has money from the free throw line now.
Kawhi Leonard doesn't have a pulse. It doesn't change. It's unbelievable. And so if it's close, and they've played head-to-head one time in a high-profile game, and Kawhi's team won, by the way, doing all this without Paul George. You bring up the fact 5-1, 5-2. They lost to Utah. They lost to Phoenix. The Lakers only have the one loss to the Clippers. LeBron has had the services of Anthony Davis the entire season.
But you're looking at
who's also an MVP caliber
You're
player.
looking at everything, and I get that. And I also have to take into account Paul George ultimately coming back, because we keep forgetting Paul George is a star, and Paul George is a monster himself, and he's going to elevate the Clippers. But I would like to add this. I'm telling you right now, the way LeBron is looking right now and the way he's talking, I like it because I see a man that's saying, all right, y'all, I'm back. And by the way, I'm healthy. Let me put a stop to all of this, which is what I wanted him to do opening night. He didn't do it, but he's doing it now. I believe it will continue. I believe that the Lakers are going to win the chip. That's what I believe.
Long as when Kawhi checks in, we don't see from LeBron. Oh, man.
That's right.
And that was before Kawhi knew what he was doing.
It better not happen. Because when it comes to the Lakers and Clippers, I know what the Clippers are, and I know they're a better team collectively. They're a better team.
Max, you think LeBron's been the most impressive Laker, right?
You should be able to overcome LeBron and AD. That's why I got my eyes on this. This is what it's going to come down to.
LeBron has played out of his mind great. The fact that he's in year 17 doing this,
he's phenomenal,
is so far beyond anything we've ever seen from an athlete this advanced in their career in any sport, because no one in their 17th year ever came close to this in basketball. No one. It's amazing. AD has played, you could make an argument he's the MVP. Danny Green has been great. I love me some Danny Green. Dwight Howard is the one that surprised me the most and impressed me the most based on where we perceived he was in his career versus how he has played.
He shot perfect in 2 games this season. 8 for 8 from the field in one game they won, 7 of 7 from the field in another. Other than that, he didn't do much offensively. Every other game, he's been limited to 3 shots or less. Maybe it might behoove the Lakers to get him the ball a little bit more.
But now
LeBron is better than Kawhi. LeBron is better than the Greek Freak. LeBron James is still the best player in the world. Excuse me, hold on, wait a minute. The only evidence you have, Max, is the fact that he wasn't participating in the postseason and they were.
Yeah, but
that's it.
That could actually be a benefit. His
exactly. First time in 9 years.
It may be. But when last seen, you have to go. The real LeBron hasn't been seen since the playoffs of the previous season.
Let me ask you this question. Aren't you one of those guys that, for the most part, believes that injury should not take away the mantle? In other words, if you injured and you weren't playing, then let's see what you have when you come back.
It depends. It's a unique circumstance.
What's the unique?
We've never seen a guy this deep into his career still among the best players in the game ever. LeBron. So if he hasn't been his best self in over a year now.
But the last time we saw this brother in the playoffs, we know what he did. And the last time we saw him during the regular season, when he was playing, the Lakers were the 4th seed in the West. And then he goes down and they collapse.
So did Lonzo go down.
Lonzo, but really?
Yes.
In this conversation, we're going to bring up Lonzo. Really?
Lonzo had a tremendously positive effect on that team.
Listen, he had a positive effect, but he wasn't the difference maker. He was a contributor. We get it. Okay. I understand. Come on, man. How are we going to say? I'm sitting there. You got me. I'm mad at you now. You got me sitting here defending LeBron James like this. How can we sit up here and strip him of his supremacy because he got injured?
Let's back up for a second. I want to table Antetokounmpo because that's a legit argument. I want to focus on Kawhi.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard, I thought, when last healthy, if you can't strip a guy when he's injured, before Kawhi got hurt in San Antonio, there were plenty of people, and I was one of them, who thought he was the second best player in the world, not KD. Kawhi, because Kawhi's defense was on its own level, and then suddenly his offense, while not quite as good as LeBron or KD's, was on their level. He was third out of three if you want to compare him, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, Kawhi has MVP-level offense? To go with that defense, a proven champion. So when he got back from injury, let's see how he played. Regular season, he was an elite player. Playoffs, he was a monster.
LeBron is 34, going 35 years old, if I remember correctly, or whatever. He comes back. Okay, we understand that the Lakers had their struggles or whatever. I'm talking about 8 straight trips to the final, the way that he balled, how he made others better around him. Numbers didn't dip. And oh, by the way, the old man with LeBron James, who got more hair issues than me, by the way. I just want to state that for the record, okay? He has more hair issues than me. I'm 50. All right, you know, I got an excuse.
Okay.
I don't know about him.
Now
but let me
you're
tell you
poking
this.
fun at LeBron.
Of course. Okay, yes, I am. Oh, far be it for me to do that. It's all love, LBJ. It's all love. Here's the deal. Let's look at this. The last few games, Max, since February. Let me just throw this out you. 33, 31, 27, 27, 31, 30, 36, 29, 33, 25, 29, 23,
You agree
27.
that scoring is not the only important thing,
I totally
right?
agree with that.
Oh,
What
he has
I'm saying
assists
to
and
you is
rebounds.
this. All I'm saying is we did not look at LeBron James and see such a precipitous drop-off. What I'm saying is, can we not trust this brother that he's in elite physical condition?
No, this is what I mean about disrespectful. I'll believe it when I see it. LeBron James hasn't been the best version of himself, which he saves for the playoffs, since the playoffs over a year ago.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard,
he don't deserve that.
Just destroyed
he
the
don't deserve the benefit.
Freak and everyone else in his way.
From you?
No.
Oh, I forgot who I'm listening to. Mr. Cliff with Tom Brady. My bad. You don't respect the greatness that